This is Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. I trust today that this will be like a vitamin or a supplement for your mind and heart. And wherever you receive podcasts, would you please subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom and leave a rating and a brief written review? And please pass the word on to your friends and neighbors. Thanks for joining today. I want to ask you this question today, a very important question, my leadership friend, is what do you need to change? Oftentimes as a leader, we are focused on where the organization needs to go and the changes that are needed there, or what certain folks who work for us, what changes they need to make. But today I want to put the mirror up in front of us and ask each of us, including myself, this very important question. What do I need to change? What are some areas I need to improve in? And I have 9 areas that I'd like for you to consider. So let's talk about perhaps there are some things in our lives that need to be changed. It's probably not a perhaps, it is an absolute. The first is in the area of mission. I don't mean that you quit having a mission or that you drop your mission or vision and go to something else, but some things that can happen over time with the mission, our own personal mission, the mission of our family, but primarily we're thinking about a vocational mission. One of the things that you really have to guard against is mission drift. Everyone will look out for what they perceive to be their own interests. They will try to hijack the mission and get it going in their direction. You'll hear a lot of people talking about silos. Now, there are 2 sides to that conversation. Naturally, if you're in charge of finance or you're in charge of programming or you're in charge of a certain age level, or sales, whatever it is, you are going to be exceedingly biased toward your perspective and would like for everyone in your organization to quit what they're doing and come help you because, after all, that which you're involved with is the most important thing in the whole organization. And that is exactly what everyone thinks. As a leader, if you do not keep the entirety on mission, what the mission is, it will drift and go the direction of the person with the loudest voice or the person who has a particular agenda and some friends who will back them up. So take some time out this week and just do a little review. Are you on mission or have you started to drift? Another thing that happens in the area of mission is alignment. Is everything in your organization aligned? I read wonderful, powerful mission statements, and yet if I were to look at the calendar and the financial statement of the leader and the business and the organization, you would see an entirely different picture. Oftentimes, we can have mission, go off in a particular direction, but the gravitational pull of the status quo is so hard to overcome. And so you need to make sure not only do you have a mission, check to make sure you're not drifting off into some other direction, but is everything in your organization aligned with the mission? And does the mission yet today still communicate what you believe the purpose of your organization is? Now, when you get to combating against mission drift to make sure that everything's aligned and that your purpose is still the same, you're going to find out, leader, that the art of leadership is saying no, not just yes. It's very easy to say yes to people. There was a time in my life when I would say yes to everyone without counting the cost or even thinking it through. And those were very expensive mistakes. To be a leader, you are in a position where you're going to have to say no. And your degree of being called a leader will be more determined by what you say no to than by what you say yes to. So what else do you need to change? How about the tensions in your organization? There's always creative tension when you're a leader. Remember how I talked a moment ago about the various silos? Well, there's always the tension between research and development, advertising, sales, if you're producing a product, the factory. There's always creative tensions there. But here's how you resolve those tensions as a leader. There's really only one way. Do what is right, not what is easy. There's always going to be creative tension. As a matter of fact, tension is really a good thing. It's the overabundance of tension that can cause our health and our work to break down. But tension is a wonderful springboard for creativity and for progress. But the thing that you just have to constantly go back to is when you're in the throes of making a decision, it's not my job to do what's easy. Sometimes it is easy, but you have to do what's right, and rarely is doing what's right the easiest thing to do. So what do you need to change? You need to make sure that you're living in balance with the various tensions in the area of your responsibilities, but make sure that you're doing the right thing. The third thing you may need to change is metrics. The way we measure things is changing. I come from the not-for-profit or the church world where our metrics are changing in that folks are moving to multiple services and they're moving to online services in addition to live services. And it used to be our metrics where we counted the people in one service at one time. And it may be that there is a better metric to really measure the effectiveness of an organization. Now, with your organization, there could very well be those same kinds of situations. So you may need to have some brainstorming and gathering together and say, what are the metrics that really matter? Because a genuine leader is not just a searcher for consensus, but a molder of consensus. That's what Martin Luther King Jr. said, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So your job as a leader is to listen and to try to come to a consensus and then to help mold that consensus into something that the entire organization can agree to. The fourth thing that you may need to change is the attitude. First place to start is with yourself. Does your attitude need adjusting and changing? How about the attitude of your organization and those that are all around you? You know, our attitudes can get in the way, and sometimes there are things that don't go the way that we envisioned them going or the way that we wanted things to go, and there are going to be people in your organization that walk away. There may even be some who quit on you. I remember a quote by Billie Jean King, the tennis champion of another era, who said, "Champions keep playing until they get it right." So don't get down on yourself. Don't give in to a bad attitude. If there's an area where you need to be improved, make those improvements both personally and as an organization. And what I know as a leader is your attitude will eventually be reflected throughout the organization. And if you want a well-adjusted organization, we need a leader who is well-adjusted. Doesn't mean you never have a blue day or a bad day or a Monday or whatever. It's just that if there are some attitudes that you need to deal with in your organization, it's not going to get better on its own. That's why you're there, leader. Get with the program, get after it, and make sure the attitude is not a stumbling block in your organization. Another thing that you're going to need to change in this day and age is communication, its frequency, how you do it. The other thing that I've learned is I always had this idea early in my days that I knew the right way to do it. And if you just listen to me and do it the way that I have always done it and the way that I told you it should be done, then we'll all get along perfectly. I then had to change that over the years to not just tell people how to do things, but to tell them what to do and let them surprise me with how they did it. And what I had learned is that I didn't always know the best way, and there were more effective and efficient ways of doing it. And so in this area of communication, it's not our job to communicate down to the finest detail of every effort in the organization, but allow people the freedom to experiment. Allow people the freedom to explore, are there more efficient and effective ways of doing particular things? And I think you will be surprised. Another thing needs to be changed is in the area of flexibility. I'm talking about organizational flexibility, but I'm talking about our own flexibility. And here's one of the enemies for the leader in the area of remaining flexible. And it's going to be counterintuitive, and that is your successes at this point will mess you up more than your failures. If you found some measure of success doing something at a particular time, you will codify that in your own mind and say, this will work for everyone, everywhere, at all time. And you'll cease trying to explore other kinds of possibilities. Yes, what you did worked very effectively, but do not become the victim of past successes. Stay open, stay willing to change, and stay willing to adjust. You must, leaders, stay flexible. The seventh thing you may need to change is your expectations. It's a different world, and people's views of things are much different. And I think what discourages people, perhaps more than anything, is the fact of unmet expectations. So ask yourself, it's great to have high expectations for yourself. It's okay to have them for others. But are they reasonable? Unreasonable expectations will be an active ingredient in discouragement and disappointments. Was it God's expectation or yours? Was it the organization's expectation or was it yours? Adjust your expectations. I'm not saying giving up on them, or I'm not even talking about lowering your standards. You just need to make sure that your expectations are in line with what you're trying to do and who you're trying to be and what you're trying to accomplish. The eighth thing that may need to change for you, leader, is all kinds of adjustments. Over the years, I've had to adjust my leadership style. I've had to adjust the way that I thought things ought to be done. You ought to continually be looking for areas that need adjustment. And where that begins is, again, as we started today, pick up a mirror and look at it and ask yourself, in what areas of my life, personally, do I need to make some effective adjustments in life? Am I stuck in a style? Am I stuck in a particular mindset or viewpoint? Maybe one of the ways to make this adjustment is to find people who don't think like us, who don't agree with us on particular things. I have found that those kinds of conversations and meetings are exceedingly stretching and unbelievably helpful. We have to continually adjust. An airplane is constantly making mid-air corrections. You and I, in our leadership life, in our goals and values, have to continue to tweak and to adjust. And that's one of the things that's going to help us as change leaders, is if we learn to adjust and make those changes before they become such large and enormous changes. The ninth and final one that I want to mention to you today, leader, as what may need to change is your relationship with others. Are you a caring leader? Now, I hear what some of you are saying. He's going to get touchy and feely on me here. You don't have to be hard-nosed. You don't have to be hard driving, and there have been times in my life when I've been, unfortunately, both of those things. You can still get the job done, the mission accomplished, the goals reached, and still be a reasonable, a kind, and a caring person. It doesn't mean soft. It doesn't mean unwilling to make difficult decisions. You have to do that as a leader. But you have to be a caring person. You have to care about those all around you. So I'm going to end like I started my leadership, friend. What are the things in your life personally and in the organization that you serve that need to be changed? Let's make today Change Day. You have been listening to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. I trust for you today this has been like a vitamin or a supplement for your mind and heart. And wherever you receive podcasts, would you please subscribe? to Dr. Ron's words of wisdom. Remember, my leadership friends, these are challenging days, and I want you to know I believe this from the bottom of my heart. You are really doing better than you think you are. You are doing a whole lot better than you think you are. And until next time, this is Dr. Ron saying, have a great and blessed day.